see. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Perfect. I have a couple of bell work quick activities for you. The first one, what I need you to do is just don't try to analyze too much, but what I want you to do is just look at the different descriptors on this page for those 4 quadrants. You're going to see how they're separated out. And think about your teaching style. And we have a Google form for you. We're going to ask that you write your name and just tell us what best fits your style of teaching. Just as you're in the classroom, are you more of a feeler type, a sensor, an intuitor, or a thinker? So if you can just take just a quick minute just to do this. Again, don't overanalyze it. And then I'll put the link in the chat so that you can fill out that Google form. Okay, so help us out. This is going to be to group you guys in just a bit. And then once you're done doing that, there's actually another activity that we want you to do. So once you're done deciding which one you are, on the next slide, I'll show you in just a bit. But you're going to be opening up the reading suggestions for establishing a positive classroom environment. And you're going to choose one suggestion. It's only a page and a half, but just choose one suggestion that you can better implement in your classroom. And what you're actually going to do is you're going to use and you're going to implement and put your answer right in the Module 7 activities. I put a part right there in the module so that you can use that to refer to later on as you're writing and finishing and doing your module. Oops, it says 7, but doing this module. Okay. Okay, so let me put the other activity. So there's 2 activities. Here's that first one again.
It says that I don't have access for that reading article.
Same for me.
Okay, let me share. Here we go. Okay, I put the link in the, it's a PDF. You should be able to click on it. I put it in the chat. See if you can open that now. And I'll change the settings for the sharing.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we can. Yeah, it works. Thank you.
So I'll give you about 5 minutes. It's a quick read, so hopefully you can do this within 5 minutes. I'll check with you at 10:41. Okay, how are you guys doing? Do you need more time? You guys ready to go on? Okay, perfect. Oh, thank you. All right. Can I just have a couple of people just share out? I'll put it on the screen, the suggestions for establishing, let's see. Let's see, activity one. Here we go. Okay. Um, so there were eight, I think 7 or 8 different suggestions. Can I just ask a couple of people to share out, or you can even put it in the chat if you want, which one you'd like to try do a little bit more in your classroom to provide to promote a positive classroom climate? Were there any on here where you were like, hey, pretty cool idea? Maybe forgot to do it, or oh, I forgot that I'm supposed to be doing this.
I picked number 3, making eye contact with every student. I think the day can get so hectic sometimes that sometimes like the shy kids or more reserved kids can get kind of left out. And so I need to make a point to better be like looking at them or talking with them at some point during the day.
Thanks, Violet, for sharing. Somebody else?
I picked number 3 as well. A little for a different reason. It might make me appear in a negative light, but I'm a Polynesian dance teacher. So very often we give constructive criticism and feedback in real time while they're dancing. And a lot of the time we are looking at their body position and placement in the space. So I do find myself not giving direct eye contact a lot because I'm correcting certain things. Also, at least for me, I feel like when I give them eye contact, and I differentiated this when I was speaking in my document, the positive eye contact versus just general eye contact. Because if I'm giving them eye contact while I'm giving them that constructive criticism, it appears more like scolding them versus like supportive. I feel like they withdraw a little bit more because it's intimidating also already dancing as it is. But that positive part, emphasis on the positive part, is something I need to work on.
Oh, thanks for sharing. That's so interesting. The different take on the reasons why. Thanks. And no, it doesn't come off as negative at all as far as what you do. So thank you for sharing. And maybe one more person.
Okay, I'll share. I hate to admit this, but like some of them spoke to me like, I have this tough girl that kind of like I give a lot of negative feedback. And I read the one where it was like, my goal of giving her feedback is to get her to change the behavior, but then it's saying that it doesn't necessarily change the behavior. So I guess trying to think of and point out more of her positives. So hopefully that would help her choose better choices, make better choices.
Thanks, Sherilyn. It's funny you say that because I'm reminded too. I have one very challenging student as well. And luckily I have a really great partner teacher and she's so calm. So whenever I need to like sounding board off of somebody, I go to her and I just have to remember, oh, she's always so nice the way she speaks. I'm going to try do that too. So yeah, that calm and courteous. I know I'm kind of guilty sometimes of getting a little louder sometimes too. Okay, going back to the one. Let's see if I can. So thanks for sharing. Okay, 7 suggestions. And this came from, let's see. This is actually from Carolyn Evertson and Arlene Harris of Vanderbilt University, but they give 7 suggestions. And they are to definitely speak courteously, speak calmly, make sure you're making that eye contact and make those considerate statements instead of asking those accusatory questions, accusing kind of. I know we don't do that though. Again, I know DOE always says use 6 positives to that 1 negative. And again, live in that present and accept the child. So again, thanks. And hopefully you can take some of these back to your classroom too and remember this. Okay, so what I had you guys do right now was just a did you know. It's a text to self connection. And again, it's just knowing that reading does come alive when we recognize how the ideas in the text connect to our experiences and beliefs. And I know you guys do this all the time when you have your students sharing and reflecting, making sure they make those connections to what they're doing to something in their own life so that they have that tie-in. So again, this module is establishing a supportive learning environment. We're focusing actually a little bit more on communication styles. And that's why we had you do that first activity. That's going to be a major part of your entry for this module. Can somebody read this for me? It's a quote from Phyllis Lerner. And she is, let's see. Yeah, would somebody mind reading it for me?
Even the most technically talented teacher will not be successful in motivating students if he or she does not establish a supportive learning environment.
Thank you. And the big idea with this quote, this is somebody who teaches at Johns Hopkins University, and she's gone around to, I think, 40 different states to just talk about effective and equitable instruction. But the big idea with this that she was trying to say is you need students to be motivated. You want them to take those risks in your class and not have any fear of just participating. So that's really key. So now we're going to move into communication styles. See how quick that one little section was? Okay, so we had you do an activity. And this is where you're going to be doing a lot of sharing with each other. We're going to break you out again into groups. But based on what was interesting with what you guys shared, normally we have a lot of feelers in the group because elementary teachers, I hate the stereotype, but you tend to be more of the feeler type, and it makes sense. But I think with this group, we actually have a lot of thinkers too. So that's going to be kind of exciting. What you're going to be doing is we have, let's see, I'm going to share the link for it too, for the communication styles. And let's see if I can share the activity here. I'm going to put this link down at the bottom in the chat. Here we go. So in your breakout rooms, what you're going to be doing is you are going to be grouped, and you're going to jot down things that you agree with those traits, and some of the things that you think, oh, no, I don't think it really fits what we are. And you can talk about it too. You can share ideas that aren't on this as far as the descriptors. And if you want to put images that you think match your trait, go ahead, do that. If you want to put quotes or something, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be written. Emojis, even if you think that might fit with your communication styles. But again, what you're going to be doing is, and you're going to see, depending on your group, we have a couple feelers. The next slide is going to be our feelers too. So you're going to go to your slide, and again, just put things in that describe that you feel really match your group, and some things that you think don't match. Now, after you're done with that, there is going to be another task. I'm going to let you guys work on this one as well. So you're going to have double duty. But what you're going to do once you're done, or if you finish early, go down and jump to slide. It's 8, actually. I apologize because we had to add an extra feeler slide in there. But what you're going to do is, this is called the builders and blockers. And I want you guys to think back to when you were actually a student. Now, it might not match the communication style that you actually teach with, but think back to when you were a student and think back to those lessons that you felt really helped you out, that helped you be successful. And think about and really focus in on those communication styles. And I want to know what kind of things helped build the learning for you and enhance it and make your class or that lesson really enjoyable. Uh, and think about those things and the way that maybe your teacher taught, maybe in a certain communication style. Think about the things that weren't as successful and what blocked you from learning. Because again, this is meant to again try to have you really think about how we can best teach our students using all these communication styles. So kind of keep that in your back of your head as you're working on this activity. Okay, we are going to ask you guys to share out. So any questions before I send you off to your breakout rooms?
Christy, I need
Yes.
help. If you can, sorry, can you quick make a second thinker slide? I'm trying to do it from the phone, not work, having success.
Sure will.
So that would bump slide 8 to 9. And then if everybody could just refresh their screen after you're done with that.
Okay, so I have thinkers. Here we go. I'll put group 1 and then thinkers. Oops. Here we go. Sorry. Group 2. And thank you guys for being so patient. I know. Oops. We're kind of having to do it. This module is a little bit tough because we never know who is going to be, how many people we're going to have in each of these little sections. Okay. So again, I know it says continue to slide 7, but if you kind of look at the slides on the side, you'll see it's going to jump down to slide 9 now. That's where your instructions are for that second part of that activity. Okay. Okay.
And then,
This
sorry, one more
activity takes,
interruption. How
Sure.
long did you want the room set up for?
I'm thinking this might take a little bit of time. Can I give you guys about 20 minutes to do this? And if it looks like we'll start observing these slides, and if it seems like a lot of you guys are done, we'll just kind of come back a little bit earlier. Will that work out for everybody? Yeah, okay. Okay, so 20 minutes, all right? Good luck, thanks.
think those are the slides that we're supposed to put in things.
Do we just type it in ourselves? Did you type those words, Taylor?
Did not.
Oh,
That's why I was like confused.
I typed those words.
Oh, okay.
oh, okay.
Mia, yep, thanks.
Got it. This is so great. Like we're supposed to talk about it, right?
I guess I'm confused because on the bottom corner it says, when done, continue to slide 7, read directions and do the task on your slide. And that is what is that part 2? Slide 10?
Slide 10.
Slide 10. Okay, that makes sense.
Are supposed to like put in more things for the agree disagree?
I guess you guys could add or change, or we can discuss it.
Okay, I put like influential for the disagree because I don't think I'm very influential.
Oh, I didn't see influential. Oh, there, you're right. I would have added that to disagree also. Yeah, I didn't think I'm definitely not past oriented. I always tell the kids every day's a new day. Don't think about yesterday. And so a lot of my middle schoolers would be like, oh, so and so did that in 5th grade. And I'm like, well, it's a new school and this is a new everything. So I always try and give them that clean slate and not worry about the past. So that one doesn't apply for me.
I was thinking also like for the disagree. Well, I don't know. It could be agree or disagree. Human interaction. Like I don't mind.
Oh yeah, that's a disagree. You can put that one there too from disagree.
I don't mind interacting with humans, obviously, because we're teachers, but
yes, but I like when they're 15 and under. Like whenever I have to do things with the faculty, I'm like, oh, yuck. I don't want to talk to those people. I like children and animals.
Okay, I'm gonna put like.
Yeah, that's good. Personal, responsive, supportive,
warm.
Sensitive, restrained,
So we're gonna do that. We can try it.
Sensitive. I think I've learned to be not so sensitive.
I am just like you. I'm overly sensitive, and I'm getting older in my ages. You know, I'm in my young 50s, and I still feel like I take everything so personally. And I used to be a counselor, so that's kind of why I had to get out of it and go back to teaching. So I'm right there with you, feeling people.
That is tough.
I think we can talk about that slide 10 now, right?
Yeah.
When we were a student, if there's anything else you guys want to mention.
No, we can definitely start that.
You mean
Um,
love?
Think about lessons that you were taught or success you would help to person learning. Therefore, they must know the nurse how to learning.
What's that blue thing?
For me, when I was a counselor, I would have to do a lot of student observations at a middle school. So I would see like 65 different styles of teachers.
oh my god.
And the ones that just rub me the wrong way when the teachers scream, like are screaming and their eyes are like rolling back in their head. I'm like, why are you teaching? Like, this is so unnerving. We're all freaked out and I'm not even a kid. So that always just puts me off when I hear teachers yelling through their windows.
Mm.
Um,
Where's the ship?
I think another thing that I remember when I was in middle high school was going in for help and the teacher being very short with me, like, I don't have time for you right now. So I was like, okay. And that just, that was one of my math teachers, and that just kind of jaded me with math, that she didn't want to help me and was very unfriendly at that moment. So I was like, okay. So I try, even though I'm busy, when kids want to come and spend time with me or need to make up work, I just try and be nice about it, but let them know, hey, now's not a good time, but in a nice way. I don't know.
That's true. That also happened to me in high school, like a math teacher. It's always the math teachers.
Yeah.
But some things that good teachers did were like hands-on activities, bringing in like real world examples,
I think like projects are always fun
projects.
for me.
I remember having to like cut up magazines and make like a collage.
What do you guys teach?
5th grade.
I teach 3rd.
Okay. So I teach art, so I just feel so lucky because we're always doing hands-on stuff. And I would have to say majority of the kids really, love to come to art because they can just have fun and express themselves. So I know you guys don't have art teachers though in elementary, right? It falls on you.
Oh
Yeah.
we have to do it.
So I don't know how you can incorporate art into all your lessons. It's so much work, but it definitely seals the lesson, I think.
Yeah. No, it would be so nice to have an art teacher.
My son goes to Aina Haina and they actually pay for an art teacher, but she's only part-time.
Oh. I live in Aina Haina.
Oh, I do too.
Oh.
What street are you on?
I'm on House Street.
Oh, do you have dogs?
Yes.
Do I know you? I probably know you. I go to the dog park every day. My husband and I walk dogs.
Dog park.
Do you live by John and Kuma and Anne, or Richard and Andrea and Samson?
No, but I've met Kuma.
Okay, yeah. Do you live down by him?
No, I've like taken my dogs on walks, or like sometimes I just go walking and then like one day we just like had an interaction.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I grew up in the valley, so I've been here my whole life. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, what school do you teach at?
Me and Amanda both teach at Pohakea. It's in Eva Beach. So.
Oh my gosh, you have to drive.
Yeah.
I bet you have nice kids though.
Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah. I think our district in Aina Haina, some of my friends teach at Kalani, they have a hard time with the parents, where my school is Washington Middle. So I have very nice parents, but maybe not enough parent interaction. But so, all right. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked.
Amanda, did you add lunch punch?
Yeah, because that's a time when it's like not academic and you can just listen to your students chat about anything. You
Is
know.
that lunch bunch during your lunch?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the kids come into the room and can watch a movie or just talk story.
Oh, that's nice. I have kids in my room every day if I let them. I'm like, I need one day, one day to not talk to anybody for just a half hour.
I know.
Oh, thanks. You're adding all this good stuff.
Video and visual representations.
Gotcha.
And
Do you, Taylor and Amanda, like talking in front of adults?
no,
Yeah, not really.
I don't like
Yeah,
it.
me too. So funny. Children, I can talk all day long. So even like
Yeah.
sharing in groups, I feel, I don't know what that is. Maybe because we're too sensitive.
Yeah. And I don't know, like the judgment or like, I don't know. It's hard.
Or it's when no one like
Yeah.
responds back.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like I've had that in some groups on here too, but it's hard because it's online. But yeah.
did you ever get a partner for that other activity?
Oh yeah. So like I ended up going back to my breakout room, and then luckily there was like 2 other people in there. So we just
Oh.
joined.
Oh,
But glad to know I wasn't the only one that was lost.
Okay. So who wants to share? I can maybe
Bye-bye.
share. Well, maybe I can share. I'll share slide 3.
Okay.
And
I can share, but you have to hear my son in the background. That's the problem. Maybe not. Can you hear him?
Yeah. He's not like
So
super loud
loud.
though.
Oh, yes, you. Oh, sorry.
No problem. I can share slide 10.
Awesome. I was thinking also that what works for me too and what doesn't work is I like to work with small groups. Like when I have so many ELL kids, like talking to them in a big group is embarrassing for them. I'm just thinking about us 3 people here. Yeah, small groups versus the large whole class.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I have 30 kids. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hopefully everything went okay in the main room. Did the activity go okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, hopefully we have everybody back. This activity was really meant to have you guys share out and hopefully come and walk away with some strategies to use for those students that don't share your communication style, because I know we tend to like to gravitate toward ours. I mean, it's just innate, right, that we do that. So as you start finding, if you're a thinker and you find out, oh, look, I can do some of these intuitor type lessons, or just being more aware so that as you're going through, you can try to do different things. Okay, so my feeler group. Group 1, I think we had 2 feeler groups. Would you guys mind just sharing a little bit about what you came up with in terms of what you kind of agreed and disagreed with?
Okay, so we agreed with a lot of the feeling words here. So we put patient, flexible, accepting, supportive, someone who's a listener, personable, empathetic, sensitive, and understanding. And then some things that we disagreed with were being past oriented, sometimes influential, and then also the human interaction that we work well with children and animals only.
And Amanda, can you, I love that little image that you guys came up with. Do you think that, can you just explain that too, please?
Oh, I just put that in there, like being a good listener, someone who will take the time to sit with you and listen to how you're feeling.
Thanks, Amanda, for sharing. Okay, we're going to jump to our next one, Feelers Group 2. Can somebody just share what you guys came up with?
I can go. So we were saying that the things we agree with is that we feel like we're understanding, respectful, accepting, flexible, and sympathetic. But we were a little bit, not so much disagreeing, we were just a little bit confused on what we meant by past oriented. So we put that under there. We had a couple different interpretations. We were thinking about it in terms of thinking about what other teachers tell you when you get like red flags at the beginning of the school year about a student, but choosing to either just see the student for who they are in your classroom because they can change over time, or thinking about it in terms of referencing back to lessons that happened in the past as you move forward. So we just felt safest to put that one under disagree, but otherwise we agreed with the majority of the feeler ones.
Thanks, Madison. Thanks for sharing. And yes, you're right. Past oriented, you can, I'm glad you guys had that discussion about, different ways to view it. Because again, there are different ways. So nothing wrong with that. Okay. Next, we're going to jump to our intuitors. And I think we put our intuitors and our sensors together. Can you guys just share a little bit about what you guys discussed and came up with?
We just decided to look over at intuitors. And in doing so, we discovered a lot of overlap between the two. So we agreed with pretty much everything. A lot of it had to do with the ability to be open-minded and expanding, but with structure. So chaos is in both agree and disagree. We agreed that in discovering new things and implementing new things, we are okay with accepting the chaos that comes with it. But overall, not having any plan or routine is not something we all just ride on. We eventually come to that structured foundation. We weren't exactly sure about the dreamer thing. So, and then no routines again, going back to routine. We all implement routines and a structure. It's important to have that as teachers, but to be able to expand on those, kind of adapt and accommodate.
Thanks for sharing, Pony Aloha. I appreciate that. And then we're going to jump to our thinkers. Can somebody share for our thinker group?
Is that my group? I think that's my group. Anyways, I forget which one we were. We just said, wait, is this me? Yeah, this is me. Sorry. So we said that we like structure and like things done in a linear time. We're very detail oriented. We're patient but cautious, especially with elementary school students, and like cautious when it's like maybe changing something or implementing a new routine or whatever it may be. And then very factual. So like and factual and structure kind of go hand in hand, like with rubrics. So like we need to know like what is the expectations of our students and also of us. And then something not necessarily disagreed with, but it's a struggle for us is that because we're so detail oriented, especially when it comes to like planning for lessons or whatever, especially for elementary when we have so much to do, there's so much to do, but with so little time. So then it can like stress us out. Like, did we do enough or did we not do enough? Is everything there? You know, so that's what we talked about.
Thanks so much, Alyssa. And then we had one more thinker group. Did my last thinker group, anybody want to share?
Sure, I'll go ahead. I feel like we agreed with most of the characteristics, you know, looking at things objectively, highly organized, systematic, very structured and detail oriented, kind of look at things based on the facts, use caution, precision. But then we also found that there's under the thinker category was being frugal, and most of us agreed that, you know, while we don't want to be frivolous, like we're willing to invest in things that will help things run smoothly. So kind of based on that, you know, logical kind of, you know, if something is going to help improve how things flow, or like investing in, I used an example of like a nice big rug in my classroom that really fit the space and helped the children. And yes, it was a big investment, you know, the most costly thing that I've asked for in a long time, but it made sense so that I could hold the class, you know, in my kindergarten class, and just so much better. So that was kind of the one thing that we didn't agree on, but it was based on, you know, because it's logical.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing, Emily. And hopefully as you guys are going through this again, I'm sure you have been exposed to a lot of different types of communication type of tests, or, you know, analyzers. Like the common one you always hear about is the Myers-Briggs, where again you just kind of answer questions and it kind of puts you into a certain category. There's different descriptors too when it comes to there's I think they have they have types that talk about like aggressive compared to more passive type of personality types. There's so many out there, but it's so interesting to know, because again, depending on what you are, we tend to, again, like I said, we tend to like to kind of fall back into our pattern of what's comfortable for us. And we tend to forget that not all students fall within the same type of style that we are. So again, as you're going through this and hearing what people are sharing, keep that in mind, because you're going to be tasked with trying to incorporate different communication styles within your lessons. Okay. All right. So we're going to jump to the second part of your activity that you did. And in this one, again, it was the builders and the blockers, and just thinking about, and again, when you think about things that blocked you, what you weren't comfortable with, how can you go about and turn it into something where the types of lessons, what kind of lessons maybe those types of students with those communication styles, how they'll thrive in the types of lessons that you offer. And again, when you're going through this, it's not something where you have to say, okay, I'm only going to choose this one way to teach. You can incorporate many different styles within your lessons, which I'm sure probably a lot of you are doing anyway. Okay, so we're going to jump to our first group again, the Feelers Group 1. Tell us what were some of those builder lessons that you liked, and some of the ones that were blockers for your group.
Okay, so we were talking about like how projects and like hands-on learning is a builder, because students like that, and we like that as students. Lunch Bunch to like build relationships, and then audio and visual representations, and small groups. And then some blockers was yelling at students or like teachers who didn't care to help. So like, let's just say like in high school, you know, we've had like math teachers that who didn't really care to help when we would come in to ask for it. They'd kind of like be like, oh, I don't have time. So like that's kind of a blocker. Yeah.
Thanks, Taylor. And again, it kind of reminds me of that quote that we kind of came back to before when we were first introducing this module about, again, students should be able to feel comfortable enough to take those risks. So yeah, I can see why a student wouldn't want to take a risk in that type of environment. Okay. Next, we're going to go to our fillers group 2. Can somebody share for this group?
I can share for our group. So for our builders, we had things like hands-on activities, incorporation of art, and we enjoyed like group work or partner work. In regards to blockers, was simply during instruction time, there wasn't enough time for us, like the pressure of being rushed, unclear instructions, being sat next to possibly a disruptive student. And then, you know, there are times where we might be absent and it was hard for the teacher to reteach to us. So those were some of our blockers.
Thanks, Haley. And I think it's nice that both groups, you guys came up with different ideas. And I mean, some of it in terms of the builders, that hands-on group work, that was common, but the blockers, just coming up with those different blockers. So thanks for that. Thanks. Okay. And then my next group, my intuitor sensors.
It aligned a lot with how we agreed and disagreed with the characteristics that were listed. So a lot of it had to do with, we found builders, novelty, or being the ability to be original, clear expectations, options, choice, dynamic, or more open-minded about exploration upon a subject or content, project-based and hands-on, performative. We found a lot of us were a lot more hands-on based versus the conventional text, I guess, study. And then there was a split, and I believe it's probably because of the intuitors versus sensors on the independent group work versus independent work versus group work. But overall, it came down to builders were the ability to allow us to explore or expand on our own personal application. And then the blockers were unclear instructions or things that were subjective to interpretation, because again, subjective interpretation allows your own personal view versus considering somebody else's view of what is, I guess, achieving the expectation or not. And then the lacking cultural or personal application. So expanding on any sort of thing, but not taking into account our own personal experiences on that content subject that we're studying. And then limits on exploration, discovery, and personal connection were our blockers.
Thank you for sharing. And I always think my intuitors, you're more, like if you've ever done the colors test, I think you guys are the orange, right? Isn't that your color choice? The ones that have a little bit more freedom to kind of like to do the learning on their own. Yeah. That whole exploration.
Yeah, definitely the learning on that own.
Thanks. And that does take time, doesn't it? It takes, but when you have that, you know, that type of lesson in place where you know where you want them to get to or try to get there, again, you got to give them that time to do that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, my thinkers, my first group of thinkers.
So I guess in contrast to the group that just went before us, we said that a blocker for us was being creative and having our own project because a builder is like we want projects with rubrics or something that has like clear explanations or like lessons with like a to-do list and like very structured way of doing things. So having to like create and like come up with your own ideas and projects, and then also like presenting individually was something that we thought was a little bit of a blocker for us compared to like things with a little bit more structure. Yeah.
Thanks, Listen. I love the fact that it's kind of like the opposite ends almost. And again, we have to just kind of remember there are students who do need to be that need that, right? That goal to get to. They need to know the steps to get there. They want that clear structure. So again, nothing wrong with that. So thank you for sharing. And then my next thinkers group, my group 2. Can you guys share?
Okay, I'll share. Our conversation we didn't have a lot of memories, but we were leaning more on rapport, I guess. So like the builders were having positive relationships with the teacher, showing kindness and respect, getting to know the interests of the students. Talked about liking group work and interactive lessons. And then blockers for us was like when the teacher's speaking harshly or just not building that rapport, like kind of shutting down and not wanting to learn. And then I kind of related to that other group that talked about the math teachers just like not wanting to help or not. So I have like a block of math. Like I just despise math. I stopped learning it at some point. And I don't know if that's accredited to just having poor teachers that weren't very supportive. But I don't know. That's my interpretation of what we put on the slides.
Thanks, Sherilyn. And again, it is something too that you can kind of go back to and you can kind of think like, oh, hey, maybe it was because that teacher had a certain style that was just hard to adapt to. It is possible, yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for all sharing. You're gonna again, I'll get back to the portfolio. We'll talk about this a little bit, but you'll be able to use this information to help you out. Okay, I'm gonna go back to our original slides. Hopefully, let's see. Let me go back to sharing. There you go. Okay, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree or not with this, but it's kind of interesting the way they show, again, the feelers, and if you describe like what they would look like, this is what their line would look like. Nice, soft, circular patterns. This would be my intuitors. And what do you think? Intuitors, do you guys agree? Kind of the roundabout way to get from one end to the other. My thinkers. A little bit more pointed edges there, but again, they get to that end. And then my sensors. One point to the other, straight line, that's how you're going to get there. Okay. Now, I included, I don't know if any of you have ever tried to do an inventory for your students to see what they are. We've done one, I teach 7th grade. We actually did one where they had to find out their color and they had to find common, it was kind of nice. It was an advisory lesson we did, and they had to find different activities and match it up. Like they had this nice hexagon shape and they had to find commonalities with that. But this is a nice, quick, easy one to use. It's called a grape, orange, banana, melon. But again, just going through, scoring yourself, and then you can see kind of some of the traits that are more towards you and more that you might have trouble with, and some of the kind of, and maybe it might explain why some students gravitate toward each other and why some don't. Yeah, so just we included that just so that you could have a quick write. Let's see. This is going to be kind of an entry that will probably help you out with your modules. So again, if you can go to, I believe I put it in your and I'm sorry it says module 7 activity, but if you go to your communication styles activity that you're going to be doing and turning into us, there should be a section for this quick write. And again, I just want you to, it will help you with your module. So in just 2 minutes, that's all it's going to take. Don't write down any sentences, just write down thoughts, single words, phrases, whatever comes to mind. What did you learn about your learning style? And what might be some things that you might want to change when you're working with your students? So again, if you can open up your communication styles activity. I'm going to give you a quick 2 minutes. Okay. So at 11:36, I'm going to stop you guys. All right, go.
I'm sorry, what slide is that on?
Oh, here, right in your Google Classroom, if you go to session 5 activities, communication style,
Right,
yeah, it says module 7 activities.
right.
And then if you go to activity 3, there's there's a table there for you.
Okay,
And
thank
it says list your thoughts. Did you find it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just write it down. Just quick ideas. Okay, and I'm just going to stop you right there. Yeah, we're going to just keep moving on. And again, quick writes, they're just nice ways to just get kids to kind of just, again, kind of focus back to what they just learned and just jot down so it's stays fresh in their head. Okay. All right. There's something called an eyeball to eyeball interview. We're going to skip that. We're not going to do that one. And here's another did you know? Again, it's kind of hard because we're not in person anymore, but this is, I'm sure, I remember you guys talking about doing this before, but a 4-corner challenge. And again, just having them, oh no, this is a different one. Sorry. What this is this is a way for students to explore topics and encourage communication. But what you could do is you could just do 4 corners on a sheet of paper, and then you can have, you know, questions or have them write their thoughts and then discuss. And that's a nice, easy way to, again, just a quick strategy to help students out. And let's go to here. So again, we know that we learn in different ways. David Kolb suggests that again, that we have different styles and that there are definitely different types of intelligences and that we shouldn't actually suppress the way students learn. We should just provide them with different ways and different activities to help them learn, which I know all of you already know, right? I'm just going to show one video from Howard Gardner.
Dr. Howard Gardner is an American psychologist and senior director at Harvard University. He has received numerous awards and is known around the world for his theory of multiple intelligences.
The idea of multiple intelligences comes out of psychology. It's a theory that was developed to document the fact that human beings have very different kinds of intellectual strengths, and that these strengths are very, very important in how kids learn, and how people represent things in their minds, and then how people use them in order to show what it is that they've understood. If we all had exactly the same kind of mind and there was only one kind of intelligence, then we could teach everybody the same thing in the same way.
Let's take a look at the 8 unique intelligences Gardner suggests. How do you learn best? Perhaps you will identify with one or more of the following intelligences. Mozart, U2, and Michael Jackson all had an ear for music. Those adept at reading, composing, and playing music may possess musical intelligence. Meet the needs of this intelligence by incorporating song and rhythm into your classroom. Does architecture and photography interest you? Can you find your way with a map and compass? People who love pictures, puzzles, and maps are often considered to be spatially intelligent. Incorporate these elements into your classroom to meet spatial needs. Take a nature walk, watch tadpoles morph into frogs, or study the Great Barrier Reef. These are all great examples of how to meet the needs of the naturalist intelligence. Studying the natural world is how the naturalists worked. Do you keep a journal? Do people say you have a way with words? Those with linguistic intelligence, or word smarts, may enjoy learning new vocabulary or investigating word origins. Get moving, do the robot, play a sport, or act out a novel. These are all ways those with bodily kinesthetic intelligence use their gifts. Considered daydreaming to some, critical thinking is the cornerstone of intrapersonal intelligence. This type of intelligence is useful in the classroom as students analyze essays and deconstruct arguments. Excellent listening skills, the disdain for injustice, and empathy are all characteristics of the interpersonally intelligent. Conversation with others keep these students engaged. And finally, once considered the main concept of intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence encompasses a love of problem solving and strength of math and logic. The advancements of science and technology will never be enough for this intelligence.
Okay. Oops. All right. So again, Gardner, he tells us it's not about pegging learners into specific types of intelligences, but he says, you know what? A lot of times we tend to be a mixture of things. We might be stronger in one or the other, but it's just our reminder as teachers that we really do need to try to set all the different intelligences up, and that we try to incorporate that into our classroom so we can make sure that all students feel successful. Okay. For your portfolio assignment, then here we go. This is a 3-parter, but what you're going to be doing is using the information, the notes, the activities that we did. Part 1, what did you learn about your communication style and how it impacts your classroom management? Part 2, what will be the most important change that you're going to make when you're working with your students? And what impact do you think that that's going to have? And then part 3, explain how you think your understanding of communication styles may influence your success in facilitating your student learning. So it's a lot of the things that you already discussed today. So you're just going to put it all together and complete this module. Any questions on this one? All good? Okay. So now we've, thanks for that, Sonia. Yeah, I love those little thumbs up. That really helps me out. So again, as Jackie said, we have now kind of completed session 5. We do have one more part. It is that final reflection. Are you guys okay if we keep plugging through? This section is all right. Sonia says okay. All you guys good. Okay.